Well, let's look at absolute value. Now, here we see an absolute value equation. We got the absolute value of x equals 4. Now, here's the thing to always remember about absolute value. Whatever's inside the absolute value system can be a positive or a negative. But when it comes outside those absolute value symbols, it must be a positive number. So that's why we can say that the absolute value of x equals 4, but the absolute value cannot equal or does not equal negative 4. Now, looking at absolute value on a number line, what absolute value is really saying, in this case, since this is just a simple expression, that the distance that x is from 0 is 4. And it can be 4 here in the negative direction, and it can be 4 over here in the positive direction. So inside the absolute value symbols, x could equal 4, because when it comes outside the absolute value symbols, well, it's going to equal 4. So when it comes out, when any number, or if we're evaluating an expression within the absolute value symbols, when they come out, it's going to be a positive number, regardless if it's a negative number inside the absolute value symbols. So let's look at, I got 3 example problems here of evaluating an absolute value expression. Let's look at the first one here. So we've got 23 minus the absolute value of 3 minus 4x if x is equal to 2. So when we're evaluating an absolute value expression, they're going to give us a value for the variable. When we get into solving absolute value equations, that's going to be a bit different. But right now we're just looking at evaluating an absolute value expression. So since they tell us that x is equal to 2, we're going to substitute 2 in for x. And so now we've got 23 minus the absolute value of minus 4 times 2. Well, we're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and evaluate minus 4 times 2. And that's going to leave us with 23 minus the absolute value of 3 minus 8. And we can now add and subtract inside the absolute value symbols. So we've still got 23 minus the absolute value of negative 5. Well, what's the absolute value of negative 5? Absolute value of negative 5 is 5. And so here we got 23 minus 5, and we complete that equals 18. Now let's look just a couple more. Here we got, they're giving us the value of 3 variables. R equals minus 2, N equals minus 3, and T equals positive 3. Looking here at this one here on the left, 8 minus T plus 3. We're asked to evaluate that expression. So we substitute in the 3 here for the T, and we've got 8 minus 3, the absolute value of 8 minus 3 plus 3. Well, 8 minus 3 is 5, so now we got the absolute value of 5 plus 3. Well, the absolute value of positive 5 is positive 5. And 5 plus 3 equals 8. And when T is 3, this expression will give us an evaluation of 8. Let's look at this next one. Now here we got the absolute value of R plus N. So we substitute minus 2 for the R, and we're going to substitute minus 3 for N. And so now we've got minus 2 plus minus 3, the absolute value of that, absolute value of minus 2 plus minus 3, and then minus 7. Well, minus 2 plus minus 3, or minus 2 minus 3, is going to give us minus 5. So now we've got the absolute value of minus 5 minus 7. Well, the absolute value of minus 5 is 5. And 5 minus 7 gives us minus 2. So that's taking a look at evaluating absolute value expressions.